Hi, I'm Bianca from Attraction Studio, and we help people bring their brands to better places. And today I'm here to talk to you about affordable and effective ways to gain customers. So there's some key foundational things that I've noticed a lot, that quite often when you start a business, you know what you do, and how to do it, but then you've also got to learn a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's quite daunting, and you can know some essentials that you need to do. Like if you've got a shop, for instance, you set up your signage and you get your stock and you make it look all great, and you might have a sign out, and maybe you put an ad out on in a magazine or something like that. You're probably going to get approached by a whole lot of different publications and options for different marketing channels, and you have to make decisions on which to go in and actually what to do, and all of that costs money. So we have to make some good decisions from the start. You need to get some quick wins, and then you need to be building a foundation that constantly works for you consistently, and you can build it up as you go. So one thing that, when I had a retail store years ago as well, before our agency, and I didn't know any of this stuff at that point either. So I kind of did a lot of the same things that a lot of people do, which is what I was just talking about. And you know, and I was constantly, chasing things and just putting new stuff out there, and kind of hoping it would work. People can call that pissing into the wind sometimes. But really, what does work for people is if they have a solid plan from the start that they can work with. So you're assessing a bit of risk at the same time, but what you're doing is you're getting real clarity on who you are as a business and how you're going to connect to your audience or audiences. And so we really, a great thing to do is to set up a brand and marketing strategy. And that's probably one of the things that you don't actually know how to do. So it's great that you're going through this course, because you're going to get a good idea of a foundation to build these strategies and set off on the right path. So a brand and marketing strategy will first of all figure out who you are as a business and what you're offering to the world. And knowing that is what's going to help set you apart from your competition. And being clear and consistent about that is what is going to help people decide to come to you and keep coming back and tell others about you as well. So a brand strategy looks at why you exist and who you are as a business, and who your audience is and what it is about you that makes them want to come to you. It looks at your competitors and how you differentiate from them. So why you, and what is the reason that you're different and a better choice. So there's a whole lot of ways of doing this, but as an essential thing for starting up, you might already have had experiences with certain people that will be your target audience, because you've probably been working in some area of what you're going to be doing now. And so base it off what you know, but you can also research, and there are lots of different places to get research on your market and audience. There are reports out there for certain industries. There's digital market research companies. There's sources of information like even social media, keyword research, even searching certain topics about what you're doing, and just seeing in Google the what people also ask section can give you an idea of that. Common threads. You can go on to places like LinkedIn and look at community groups and things like that, and create solid profiles on your audiences, like where are they, what sort of age, gender, what sort of spending capacity they might have, and that would relate to what you're trying to sell as well. And then what motivates and drives them. Are they incentive driven, or are they actually more about certain things like sustainability. Do they make purchasing decisions on that, how you make products? And look at other brands that they might be purchasing or engaged with, and you can model some things that those brands are doing to learn as well. And that will kind of help you decide which marketing channels to be on, um, and and what you're saying to actually attract those people to you as well. In terms of competitors, pick three. That the question is really, if I was one of four companies that this target audience is going to look at when considering who to buy from, who are the others? And then look at their strengths, their weaknesses, the key things that they're promoting. Like on their website, they'll be saying certain things. And what are they promoting? How do they, what exactly are they selling? And then look at what you do and find different things. So what are you doing differently? What are you offering that's different? And that will help create a unique value proposition. And this is a key thing that you'll want to keep promoting consistently across everything. That is really why pick me. So there's some real basic essentials about that. From there, you would have highlighted some key marketing channels to be on. And then it's like, well, what do you actually need to say on those channels? What do you need to do on those channels to attract that audience? And each audience there might be a certain set of marketing channels that's specifically for them. So often you'll have business to business customers, and you might also have direct to consumer customers. So they might have different channels. For instance, business to business, there's often quite a lot of direct sales, so you might be approaching them individually. Whereas with customers, you might be more doing sort of mass media type of stuff, Google advertising, for instance. There might be TV, radio, certain types of magazines, social media, and what do you need to do on each of those channels? So, to answer that question, what do you need to do on each channel? It's very helpful to actually develop a customer journey for each of these audiences. So, what is the first place that they might or places that they might find you? Or this is your original brand awareness phase, and there will be multiple channels of options for that. Once they're there, what do they need to see, hear, think, do to then get to the next stage, which is engaging with your business in some way, which might be, for instance, your website, or it might be your social media. Whatever that is, they might need to see, hear, or think different things, and then do something to get to the next phase. And then what is it? And then what's the next stage? And then what's the next stage? Go through every element of that customer's experience, right through to when they purchase from you, the experience at those points, including even things like billing. You know, how you send invoices might be part of the experience, might be what you say in those, the details that are within it. What do they need for that to be a good experience, for them to then want to keep coming back for more, refer others to you, and become advocates and loyal customers. So if you can map out every single point of that customer journey for your ideal customer and focus on making that great across all of those channels, then that's a really good foundation to set up with. And if you get that really clear and put that in place as your foundation when you're starting up, that is what I think is absolutely essential, because all too often we see people putting stuff out there in the customer awareness phase. It's those little ads in different places. It's a bit of social media here. It might be a vehicle signage here. It might be your shop front. But then you haven't thought about the next phase, and so you're forgetting the conversion side of things. How do you actually turn them into a customer and then keep them coming back? And that, if you don't think about that and set that up properly, you have that leaky bucket syndrome. And so there's no point in spending $1,000 on advertising if you only get 1% of those people. If that 1% only spend $100, you've made $1,000. It's back to zero. You haven't actually made any money on that. So how do you turn that into 10% of people and actually make profit on what you're spending to get those customers in the first place? And then if you think about the lifetime value of those customers, how does that grow so it's more than that original amount as well? It's much easier to keep customers coming back than it is to keep finding new ones constantly. So do that for your top two ideal clients, and set that foundation right from the start. Hopefully you've also built into your budget from the start a marketing budget, and that has to be relative to what you need to get out of it for continuing and growing your business as well. So think about that. It's hard to know how to answer what that amount is. Sometimes people think you can make that a percentage of your revenue goals, but that may not necessarily be the case when you're starting up. And I think at the start it is just really, really key to get as many customers as possible, because then you have more money to do everything else. And you can take the time to make more decisions and just layer upon layer upon layer your marketing, but keep it consistent and keep it cohesive. Essentially, your marketing is an ecosystem and it has to all work together, and that feeds your business essentially. Brand consistency is key. So across all these pieces of marketing that you're doing, people have to recognise your brand at all of those different points. If you think about it like a chain, if there's all these different chain links and they're all different, they're not connected, so it's not very strong. If they are all connected, so they look the same, they're saying the same sort of messages, they feel the same, and they're directing people to something, then it's all interlinked and it's really strong. If you have one piece that's quite different and people can't recognise it in the mix, you've got a broken link in the chain, so you're diluting the efforts. So just make sure that everything looks and feels the same, it's saying the same messages, it's all directed at that ideal client, and it's all leading them down the path that you want them to go, and you'll have a strong chain essentially. So when you're doing your target audience profiling, working out what their goals are and what they're frustrated by, that can often come from looking at competitors as well. What you think that might be a bad experience or the wrong sort of message from your competitors can sometimes highlight answers to those questions as well. But ultimately, what does this customer want and need in their life, and what can you help them with your business? And that solution is one of the parts that you want to market to them. Now, following on with that customer journey and that funnel that we're talking about, and when we're talking about from brand awareness right through to converting to a customer and then getting loyalty and advocacy, along the way, just remember that not everybody buys straight away. So there will be opportunities in the middle of this funnel where you can think about how to remarket to those people. So it's not always a straight line. It might be that somebody comes to your website and has a look at your products or services. Especially with higher priced items, people will generally be looking in multiple places and making some really considered decisions. So how do you keep top of mind? How do you keep telling them the things that they need to make the decision to come to you in the end? And remarketing things like, say it's on a digital platform, they've come to your website, you can set up ads that then follow them around when they're going back to Google and researching other things, or on social media you can have ads that pop up to those people again as well. So that, and emails. So those are sort of things that you need to think about too, is how do you keep reminding those people about you so that they could eventually come back and then purchase. It's not always a straight line. And that's the thing as well with loyalty. So don't just expect that people are going to come back because they have had a great experience. They then go on with their lives, and then it might be about 6 months later, and then they need something that you offer again, but they haven't been reminded about you, that somebody else is marketing heavily to them, and so then they go to that company. So to avoid that, put things into place, ideally automatically as well. So that's more digital advertising or building your database so that you can send emails to them later. Having automated systems for that can really help to keep you top of mind by reappearing in their lives, essentially. So try and work out what that is as well and put that into place. The next thing is you've put all these things into place. Remember that you need to actually know if these things are working. So yes, you can count how many sales you have, how much revenue you've made from that, and if these people keep coming back, if you've got a CRM that can tell you that information. You really want to know if your individual marketing channels are working as well. And some of them that can be quite hard, but there are ways of implementing some things that can help with that. For instance, print can be quite hard to measure if that's working, and that can make people quite dubious of whether they do print advertising or not. But now with QR codes, for example, you can put a thing into place where somebody can scan a QR code that can lead them to a specific page on your website, and you can track that through your website to say, yes, those people have actually come from that print advertisement. There are phone numbers that you can buy specifically for ads. So if somebody rings from that print ad, for example, you know it's from that ad. It still goes to your normal business phone line, but it means that there's some tracking that you can put into place there. So you want to look at where you're winning and where you're losing and adjust as you go, and just keep improving on all of the performance of everything that you've put into place. And because you've mapped it out very clearly, if that funnel is working but not as well as it could, tweak things and improve on it. That's going to be easier than making a whole new lot of marketing altogether, and just keep adjusting and working on that, and make sure that you've got quantifiable goals set up in the first place so that you can keep measuring against that. With some milestones are really good so that you can see progress along the way, and you know that you're actually heading towards your annual targets, for example. So different industries will have different marketing ecosystems, and of course that will also relate to your target audiences, the business to business or business to end consumer side of things. As some examples for affordable and effective ways to market to these for different industries might be for the retail industry, for example. There's local partnerships, and this is where your brand strategy comes in handy a lot as well. So your value system, your unique sales proposition, and your target audiences might match with another retailer or some other similar sort of industry, such as hospitality, for example, and you can build collaborations, and you can be seen in the same places or market to their databases. So you're essentially kind of sharing the customer base in a way, and what you're doing is you're leveraging efforts there, and you're reaching a wider audience for less cost than it would be for you to simply try and market to them yourself. You can utilise social media marketing. So there's online shopping is great for the retail industry, and you can do that through social media as well. And the paid advertising on social media is a really great cost-effective way to reach a whole new audience, and get some quick wins as well. Obviously maintain consistent posts throughout that too, and don't just disappear and then reappear. You kind of lose on social media when you start to do that sort of thing too. So again, with your strategies and planning, try and work out what story you're trying to tell across your marketing channels, and see if you can work out a content plan and already have a bunch of pre-planned content that you can spread out across your social media platforms consistently and regularly. Customer loyalty programs are massive. So again, I was talking about remarketing. if you can build into your business, especially if you have an e-commerce system, this is great. There are a lot of customer loyalty and referral systems that you can integrate into your e-commerce website, and they can automate a lot of this process, which makes it easier for you too. So a customer might buy a product, and then it automatically instigates a reward system for them, and it can tell them to do different things like go and like us on Instagram and refer a friend. It can reward your customer for doing those actions, as well as then emailing them with special offers and just keeping you top of mind with regular communication. So build those things into a retail business system, and that will really help you grow as well. So that's some examples for retail. For hospitality, online reviews is massive. So if you're looking to go to a restaurant, for example, you quite often, especially if you actually don't know the area, then you might just Google Thai restaurant near me, and it will show you a bunch of options, and then you will quickly also see customer reviews on those Google business profiles. That's a great thing to focus on building your reviews online, because that will help with social influence. Essentially is what restaurant I should go to because everybody else says that it's great. So if you can build that into your process, that's excellent, and you can do that in a number of ways too. Even with some table talkers with QR codes throughout a restaurant, for example, that can be a good way to get your customers that are sitting in the restaurant to create reviews for you. Special offers and packages. So vouchers, events, um, you know, uh, 2-for-1 deals, going on to those platforms that have, early seating discounts, those sorts of things, and targeted email marketing. So that might be where you show them a new menu that's come out, those sorts of things. So hospitality is really big on social influence, and getting other people to tell people to go to your restaurant. If you can get that going, that will be great. Professional services industry. So content marketing is good here because you're really needing to build trust, and so telling stories about how you've helped people and remembering what those ideal target audiences want and need, and showcasing that through doing it from other people, getting testimonials and case studies, and putting that into your different marketing channels. Again, the Google business reviews are amazing because it's a quick way for people that are searching for your service or solution to then see you in comparison to your competitors, and then decide to look further into whether you're the right one for them. Referral programs, also great, because we know if people are looking for, say, a lawyer, they're actually going to ask their colleagues and other people that they trust who that they should go to. So setting up ways to make that easy for people and almost giving them the cues of what they should tell people when referring to you as well. And networking and industry events. So if you can become part of the circle of influence of people that are either working in your industry that could refer to you, so almost like an intermediary situation, or the end customers where they're seeking help and advice and inspiration. Get in amongst that and be seen and build your credibility, build your trust, and build relationships with people. And that's where the professional services industry really thrive, is when you're seeing these people and people can build trust with you, more from a personal point of view as well, because often we're actually led to dealing with an individual within a professional services industry too. So it's all going to depend on your specific business, your value proposition, who you're trying to attract, who you want to work with, how you do that, and really building trust in the market through building a strong brand. and identity. So keeping it consistent and just layer and layer and layer as you go, and keep reporting, keep seeing how things are working for you, and build on that and constantly improve.